to this edition of Race to Power. I'm Ananya Datta, and it has been an exciting day of politics so far. Here's what's coming up in the next 30 minutes. The tides have turned and the Tories have been shown the door. Son to a working-class family, human rights lawyer by profession, and of course a politician. 61-year-old Keir Starmer has ended the 14 years of Conservative rule. We tell you what happens next. Also, Iran is witnessing a tough contest between a reformist and ultra-conservative. The choices cannot be any clearer. The hope now lies in the waters, and the projection says it might not be as abysmal as the first round. The strong London wind has reached the gates of 10 Downing Street. The Conservatives have won a landslide victory only seen in 1997, when Tony Blair swept to power for the Labour Party. And this effectively ends the 14-year turbulent run for the Tories. Before we get to the reactions to the unprecedented election, let's compare the parliaments under Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer that's about to come. Labour has obviously made the highest gains. It has more than doubled its tally since 2019. And the Tories were widely projected to be reduced to a two-digit figure. However, they have managed to avoid their embarrassment and get 121 seats this time. Still, of course, dramatically low from the 2019's 345 majority. We will look at Liberal Democrats, Scottish National Party and the Reform UK Party more closely in a bit. Also, these numbers are still not the final result. There will be a recount in the Highlands tomorrow morning, and that's when we will be able to tell you the full picture. All right, coming back to the Tories, it is expected to be the party's worst result in almost 200 years. The defeat has put the future direction of the party likely in uncertainty. Rishi Sunak defied speculations that he will lose his home seat of Richmond and North Allerton, but did apologise for the overall loss. He's set to step down as the Conservative leader.
I would like to say first and foremost, I am sorry. I have given this job my all, but you have sent a clear signal that the government of the United Kingdom must change, and yours is the only judgment that matters. I have heard your anger, your disappointment, and I take responsibility for this loss. This is a difficult day, at the end of a number of difficult days. But I leave this job honoured to have been your Prime Minister.
This election's insurgent party was Reform UK. Jumping on the European Union bandwagon, the right-wing party gained 3 seats this election. Its leader, Nigel Farage, finally won a seat on his 8th attempt.
Believe me, folks, this is just the first step of something that is going to stun all of you. Thank you very much. We will now be targeting Labour votes. We're coming for Labour, be in no doubt about that.
At the losing end was the Scottish National Party. That was drastically brought down from 2019's 43 seats to just 9 seats in this election. The Scottish First Minister took the blame for the defeat but ended on a note of optimism.
So I want to make it clear, as we enter a new era, that the Scottish Government that I lead will unreservedly be willing to work collaboratively and cooperatively with the United Kingdom Government to take forward areas of mutual and joint interest.
The Liberal Democrats also made record-breaking gains as they smashed through Conservative heartlands, taking the seats of 2 former Prime Ministers, David Cameron and Theresa May. These symbolic victories demonstrate the depths of dissatisfaction among long-standing Conservative voters. Also, speaking of the big names falling, perhaps the most notable was the defeat of Liz Truss. About 2 years back, the former Prime Minister served just 49 days in number 10 before being ousted by her own party. She lost to Labour in the constituency of South West Norfolk by just 630 votes. Few other names. Grant Shapps, the Defence Secretary, looked rattled after losing his seat in southern England. Leader of the House, Penny Mordaunt, who ran against Rishi Sunak for the party leadership before he became Prime Minister, also lost her seat. All right, to get us the latest, we are being joined by Stuart Smith from London. Stuart, good to see you. A lot has happened since the Labour swept to power in a landslide victory in the United Kingdom. Why don't you quickly take us through the entire day?
You can probably hear behind me there, someone is ringing a bell and saying that the country rejoices.
Yeah, that's right. Keir Starmer is now the Prime Minister. He's given a speech on the streets of Downing Street promising change. He says his work is urgent and that Labour begins it today. He says that he has been given a clear mandate by the electorate and that Keir Starmer will deliver on that mandate. Now, over the course of this afternoon and into Friday evening, it's expected Keir Starmer will lay out who he would like to see in his cabinet, the most senior and the most junior ministers who will take particular briefs, whether it's the Foreign Secretary, the Chancellor or the Science Minister. Those jobs will have already been familiar to people within the Labour Party shadow government, and now that he's in Parliament and leading the country, they will receive their briefs to go forward. The Labour Party has listed in a huge amount of detail the kinds of changes it would like to make to the country, from changes to education, healthcare and the economy.
Absolutely, Stuart. And coming to that, throughout the campaign trail as well as their manifesto that I have with me here, wealth creation, more taxes, working class, green initiatives, these are some recurring themes throughout their campaign trail. Now that they have 10 Downing, what happens next?
Yeah, so with such a large majority, there's no chance, as we've seen in previous years, of potentially rebels derailing the Labour Party's attempts to make changes. Sometimes when there's a smaller majority in Parliament, a few very vocal and principled people can end up derailing government policy. With this majority this large, it would take a lot for any of Keir Starmer's policies to not go through. And the way the UK parliamentary system works, with the Prime Minister and the parliamentary majority, Keir Starmer can effectively pass through what he likes, as long as it doesn't end up being challenged at the Supreme Court. And unlike previous years, he's had to do no deals, no party's had to do any deal with any other party. And so really there's no reason he couldn't get his manifesto promises through Parliament, though perhaps when it comes to the detail of each commitment, that will have to be heavily debated. And on issues such as foreign policy, when it comes to Gaza, Palestine and Israel, perhaps there will be a more contentious debate. But largely, it seems Keir Starmer has said that his manifesto is costed, that the money will be there to make the changes required, and so voters are hopeful and do expect that he'll be able to deliver on his commitments.
All right, Stuart, you have had a few days of busy work going on. I hope you have a relaxed weekend looking ahead to you. All right, Keir Starmer is the man of the hour, a politician who is known for his stern face, couldn't stop smiling after Labour's landslide victory in the United Kingdom. We take you through Labour's journey, riding on this human rights lawyer turned politician.
We've changed our party, we're a changed Labour Party. We are asking for the opportunity to change our country and put our country back in the service of working people.
And as Big Ben strikes 10, the exit poll is predicting a Labour landslide.
Labour landslide being predicted by
We did it! You campaigned for it, you fought for it, you voted for it, and now it has arrived. Change begins now.
After 14 years of Conservative rule, the Labour Party has arrived, and how? It is the closest to the largest landslide victory in UK's history. Just a few seats short of Tony Blair's 1997 Labour win. The journey of Keir Starmer mirrors the quest of the UK voters for change. Starmer took control of the Labour Party after 4 electoral defeats, and the worst one in 2019. In the last 5 years, the party has faced infighting and anti-Semitism. Most importantly, it changed under Starmer's leadership, a kind of change that the voters are expecting this time for the United Kingdom.
If you voted Labour yesterday, we will carry the responsibility of your trust as we rebuild our country. But whether you voted Labour or not, in fact, especially if you did not, I say to you directly, my government will serve you. Politics can be a force for good. We will show that. We've changed the Labour Party, returned it to service, and that is how we will govern. Country first, party second.
Keir Starmer is the 58th Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. He has promised change, and the voters expect him to deliver it soon. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
All right, let's hear some of the Britons reacting to the election results now.
Yeah, I feel better today than I did yesterday, I think. I feel pretty tired. I was up all night watching it. So, yeah, excited for something new to happen, I think. I think the country needs it.
I don't think a lot of change, to be honest. They've got the doctors to sort out, the railways to sort out. It's a big job for whoever gets it. So we just have to hope it's sorted.
I feel like having competent adults in the room again is going to be a big help. Like governing a country should be complicated, and it shouldn't be a thing that is done by people who are just jockeying for personal advantage in the way that we've maybe seen.
Very bad, very bad. I've been Conservative all my life, never voted nothing else ever, and I will never vote for him again. I'm Reform all the way.
And then there were two. Voting in Iran's runoff presidential election is underway. It is a tight race between two leaders on the opposite sides of an ideological spectrum. Reformist Masoud Pezeshkian and hardliner member Saeed Jalili. Polls will close at 6 p.m. local time, and they are usually extended until as late as midnight. The final result will be announced on Saturday, although initial figures and trends may come out sooner. The runoff election follows last Friday's polls, where only about 40% of voters turned up to cast their ballots. And as a result, none of the four candidates were able to garner the 50% votes needed to win, sending the election into a runoff round. The reformist candidate Pezeshkian, who is a former health minister, has promised that he will engage with the West in nuclear negotiations to lift the tough economic sanctions that are plaguing Iran's economy.
I think that Mr. Pezeshkian can make changes. He's an expert and a specialist. During his campaign, it seemed to me that he raises the crucial issues with honesty.
On the other hand, the ultra-hardliner Saeed Jalili, a former nuclear negotiator, has portrayed a much tougher position in negotiations. He has also underlined his plans to defeat sanctions and strengthen economic ties with other countries.
According to the campaign ads and debates that I saw, it would definitely be much better if we vote for Mr. Jalili. I hope that Jalili, if he gets elected, will be able to help improve the country's economy as we expect.
The next president is not expected to usher in any major policy shift on Iran's nuclear program or support for militia groups across West Asia. Since Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei calls all the shots on top state matters, the president can influence the tone of Iran's domestic and foreign policy. Insiders say Khamenei is keen on a loyal and compliant president who can ensure a smooth eventual succession to his successor. And to get us more perspective, Jason M. Brodsky is joining us live. He's a policy director of United Against Nuclear Iran and non-resident scholar at the Middle East Institute's Iran program. Mr. Brodsky, thank you so much for joining us here on WION. Good to see you. With the kind of abysmal voter turnout we saw in the first round of Iran's election, should one be optimistic this time?
It's great to be with you. I think the Iranian people, through the record low turnout that we saw during the first round, are sending two messages. One to the Islamic Republic that it is irredeemable, and another to the international community that the Islamic Republic is illegitimate. And I think that we are going to see that kind of record low turnout in the second round as well. With the Iranian people long coming to the conclusion that they've been through reformist presidents before and conservative presidents before, but the fundamentals of their plight and living situation have only gotten worse. And so that is because they recognize that in the end of the day, the real problem is the supreme leader and not the president.
All right, Mr. Brodsky. Now, we are getting some of the insiders saying that the Supreme Leader is keen on a loyal and compliant president who can ensure a smooth eventual succession. I want to ask you, what kind of government should one expect in case the reformist Pezeshkian comes to power?
Well, I think you have to understand that the Supreme Leader structurally and constitutionally is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and as you mentioned in your introduction, is responsible for the key strategic decision-making on foreign policy. So if there were to be a so-called reformist government, they would be implementing the Supreme Leader's foreign policy. While the candidates do have different outlooks and styles and tones, if you will, I don't feel that these are decisive in moving and influencing the Islamic Republic's foreign policy. Those decisions are made at the system-wide level, and the president is merely just one part of a larger picture of that system.
All right, Mr. Brodsky, thank you so much for joining us here on WION and getting us your insights.
Thank you.
All right, now the stage is set for a political battle in France's second round of elections. With less than 48 hours to go before voting begins, a poll has revealed that the far right may just fall short of an absolute majority. According to the results of the poll, Marie Le Pen's far-right party is touted to win between 205 to 230 seats. Second in line, as per the poll, is the left-wing New Popular Front with 145 to 175 seats. President Emmanuel Macron's centrist bloc trails far behind with 130 to 162 seats. A party needs to win 289, remember, of the total of the 577 seats for a clear majority, which, according to the latest poll, the National Rally will fall short of achieving. This despite the RN securing 33% votes in the first round of the snap elections. But what changed in the past few days is the question. You see, following the poll outcome of the June 30th vote, Macron's centrist alliance and leaders of the far left, came together to urge voters to block the far right from winning a clear mandate. What followed is a decades-old practice in French politics. Before the July 2nd deadline for candidates to register for round 2, 218 of them dropped out of the parliamentary race. Of the total, 130 candidates were from the left-wing NFP, while 82 represented Macron's ensemble or centrist alliance. The Republic Front is an effort by France's non-right political parties to consolidate the left-wing and centrist vote against RN in round 2 of the snap elections. After the strategic exits, elections on Sunday will now see three-way races in around 108 seats compared to over 300 constituencies before. The remaining will be a clear two-candidate contest, and that might help consolidate all the votes against the far right. And that will be in favor of one candidate. Now, National Rally's Jordan Bardella reacted to the development, calling the move of political rivals as a quote-unquote alliance of dishonor. But the question remains, will voters respond to the calls of centrist and left parties and stop the far right from gaining a clear majority in the next parliament? Now, the US President Joe Biden continues to slam critics and reports that fuel doubts over his presidential candidacy. The incumbent leader emphasized that his stance to continue with the presidential race at a gathering that marked July 4th celebrations. Take a look at the moment he made his stance clear, saying that he is not going anywhere.
You got me, man. I'm not going anywhere. All right. All right, I'll come back out when they open the gate, okay? Thank you, thank you, thank you.
The brief exchange took place after Joe Biden concluded his address and was mingling with guests, once again hitting back at growing concerns within the Democrats' camp over his age and ability to continue. Several leaders from the blue camp have publicly warned that they expect Biden to lose in the November 5th elections. Continuing the damage control after his performance at the presidential debate, Biden's campaign is looking to spend $50 million more on advertisements in July to get the Democrat leader back on track. This is in addition to the $50 million already spent on ad buys in the month of June. And with that, we are concluding this edition of Race to Power. Thanks for watching with me, Ananya Datta. Goodbye.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays, 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
The first contingent of Kenyan police officers are in the crisis-hit Caribbean nation of Haiti, amid opposition from their countrymen who have tagged them as being brutal. Can they end Haiti's gang crisis? West African regional bloc ECOWAS sounds the alarm of being underfunded, forcing the organization to seek $2.6 billion annually for a strong security force to combat terrorism in the region. And meet Ma Kolma Bangura, who is hoping to defy the odds and compete in judo at the Olympics for Guinea. Watch World of Africa at these times on WION.
Namaste. Hello friends. We did Dr. Subhash Chandra show, popularly known as DSC show, for 4 years, from August 2014 to August 2018. 28 states of Bharat. Of course, we reached out to all of you in 190 countries across the world. The show was very successful. Each episode was being watched by almost 25 million people every week. For past 6 years, the demand of the show has never died down. People write to us, people ask for the show to restart again. Hence, we are beginning the show once again on All Z Network, also on WION, which is the global network channel from India. Again, thank you for your love and affection. See you soon at Subhash Chandra Show.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at yoursarthi@such.org.in.
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at yowon.com.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Fine Print. My name is Mohammed Saleh, and let's start this broadcast by taking a quick look as to what is making headlines at this hour.
Where I accepted an invitation from His Majesty the King to form the next government of this great nation.
Keir Starmer promises to rebuild Britain as he takes office as the United Kingdom's new Prime Minister following his centre-left Labour Party's landslide general election victory that has ended 14 years of Tory rule. The new British Prime Minister Keir Starmer appoints Angela Rayner as his deputy, while Rachel Reeves has been appointed as the country's first woman finance minister.
The party of social justice.
Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban meets with Russian President Vladimir Putin for talks about the fighting in Ukraine on a trip the EU says has threatened to undermine the bloc and NATO's stance on the conflict. The Palestinian Hamas has informed its ally Hezbollah that it has agreed to a proposal for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, and the leader of the powerful Lebanese group has welcomed this step. With his re-election bid on the line, the American President Joe Biden sits down later on Friday for a crucial television interview to try and persuade the doubters of his physical and mental fitness for a second term at the White House. Hurricane Beryl smashes into the Mexican coast near the top beach destinations, whipping palm trees with strong winds as steady rain fell after forging a deadly trail of devastation across much of the Caribbean. And UEFA's two-game ban on the Turkish defender Miri Demirel sparks a political slugfest. Turkey's vice president calls the ban as unacceptable and wants the decision to be overturned. Ukraine is on the back foot on the front lines. The Russian forces continue to inch forward pretty much every day. Despite the delivery of the much-promised Western weapon systems to the Ukrainian forces, it doesn't seem to be having any effect in halting the Russian advance. The long-awaited F-16s are due to arrive in Kiev in a few weeks from now, and today Germany announced that it has given yet another Patriot missile defense system. But the tide seems to be slowly changing in Moscow's favor. Now, in a bit of a startling volte-face, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has extended an olive branch to Moscow. He's inviting Russian representatives to attend the next peace summit without any preconditions.